Hey, welcome back everybody. I'm Jade Monkey. We're back here in Rust to talk about that Rust console edition for the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, next generations, and everything in between. And we're talking about that cargo ship hype. This video is going to cover when this is going to be coming out potentially, what's going to be in it, and some things I don't think anybody's really talking about quite yet. Some things, some additions that'll be coming in here with the Oceanbound, also known as Cargo Ship. If you didn't know, it's officially announced that Oceanbound update is going to be Cargo Ship. Now, what we're talking about here is the first update to PTB, which is a public testing branch, which is a separate download. It comes to PTB first, usually cooks there for about 2 to 3 months. Once it's polished, then it gets pushed over to main branch, also known as normal Rust. So in this video, we're talking about it coming to PTB first. If you have Deluxe or Ultimate Edition, you do have access to this. It is a separate download. Search Rust Console Edition and then Public Testing Branch. If you don't find it, usually the mobile application can kind of help you link it up with your system, whether it's PlayStation or Xbox. Just other people in the past have said that, and it seems to have worked out. Okay, so first and foremost, let's go over to the dev blog. So again, a lot of this, full disclosure, a lot of this can change. This is all based off of whether or not things are stable enough. There could be like another hiccup, and it could take a little bit longer. But I think we would have heard by now, hopefully, fingers crossed. So here's what they said. Preparations are almost complete on Oceanbound, also known as Cargo Ship. Update should release in the middle of July over on Staging Branch, also known as testing. Those dates are typically Thursdays, but not necessarily. They don't have to be Thursdays. Could be a Wednesday, could be a Friday, as this is PTB, right? So in the past, they usually happen around this date. So we're looking at the 14th or the 21st for mid-ish July. Honestly, I think it could be the week of the 14th. So I think it's going to be soon because they kind of like alluded to the fact they're like, hey, it's almost done as far as it coming over to PTB. So that's really good news. If you didn't know, Cargo Ship is going to usher in another event, dynamic event that actually goes around the map itself. Let me see if I can bring this up. It will it'll make a horn sound, right, like a foghorn, and then you're going to be like moving around the outside of the map here, and you'll see it. It's an actual like giant icon, and there's crates on board. You board it with a vehicle, with a water vehicle. I mean, normally you would fly in, yes, but it flies around. It floats around the outskirts of the map, and you board it, and there's scientists. Think like oil rig, blue scientists. And then there's also crates on board. There is an icon on the ship itself. I don't have one on the map here, I don't think. You'll see how many crates are actually on board, and there's usually more than one. And even if there's not, there's good loot on board, so it's definitely worth. I think it's really going to open up the map for the actual land monuments. It's going to open up things like oil rig, because you're going to have more people hitting this. It's definitely solo friendly. It's difficult, but it's not bad. Let's put it this way. If you've done oil rig, you can 100% do cargo ship. The hardest part is probably boarding the ship and just kind of knowing where to go, but it's not that big. So, but it's got really good loot on board. So really, you could just, pop on a server, take a boat, and just start hitting it. And I think you'd be pretty dang good. Let's go over to here. Okay, so mid-July. Going back to the time estimate here, kind of set your expectations for the 21st, but I think it could very well be the 14th that's coming up. And again, still subject to change, as Mr. Shadowfrax says. This is definitely a working deadline. And remember, this is PTB. It is going to cook on here for quite some time, for 2 to 3 months before it does push out to us on actual like main branch. But we'll be checking it out. Like as soon as Cargo Ship does hit PTB, we'll be live streaming it, testing it, answering questions. Okay, so here's the other thing. And this is like, we had so many people ask like when this is coming out again, so I thought it would be worth just bringing it up because a lot of people still don't know. Here's the other thing. With Cargo Ship comes the L96, which is another sniper rifle. Let me go ahead and bring up the overlay here. It's this bad boy. Now, I am on PC, so it's going to be a little bit difficult for me to show you some things because the recoil changes here, and we don't have that yet. But if you can see right here, it's nasty. So it gives us another sniper rifle above and beyond the bolty. Now, as you can see right here, the iron sight's not that great. You can still land shots with it, but it's a bit rough. I would say, at the very least, a handmade sight will kind of help you land shots. But it does take a hollow. It can take, well, here's the thing. Kind of rewind this. Nobody's talking about this. We currently, on the console version, it was like this on PC, we have the 4X. We don't have any of this. Well, when the L96 came in, it got rid of the 4X and gave us the 8X and the 16X. It's as insane as you think it is. And yeah, so nobody's really talking about that. And I'm just assuming that's going to come in with the L96. And here's what it looks like. I actually can't even spawn in I guess it could with like a mod or something, but here's what it looks like. We got the 8x zoom, and then we have the 16x. Let me just go ahead and throw it on the rifle here. Here is the 8x, kind of gross. And then we have, and yes, you can stick this on the Python. Yeah. And then you've got the 16x, which is silly. Now, I wonder if there's going to be, if we're going to get the 16x because of render issues. I don't know. That's just me, like, spitballing, but you do have, like, a drop meter, kind of like DayZ, you know what I'm saying? Although the drop isn't that bad. There's a little bit, but it's not crazy. So there you go. That's the L96, and I think it's going to bring at least 2 new scopes, and I think it's going to get rid of the 4x. And again, you can load things up like the silencer. You can use the tactical gloves that you can buy at the Outpost. If you didn't know that, it's one of the few things that actually has a stat boost, and you can't craft it. You can only buy it. This will help with accuracy. You can throw in a hollow sight. It's pretty wicked for something like that if you want to do some hip shots. Remember, we don't have the reticle on ours because we don't have that update quite yet, but it's all good stuff. Like L96 is really going to help open up the game even further. And it's really going to help you kind of attack those oil rig runs, because a lot of times you got to split the wigs of Mr. Scientist Man. So it does help out quite a bit. We're mad excited for this. Cannot wait. Let me see. I've got a little bit of notes here to make sure I cover everything. So yeah, we got a lot of different stuff coming through here. I can't wait for this bad boy. So we have, we already talked about performance and the time frame roughly for this. Yeah, I'm hoping that's because this bad boy is floating on the outskirts, it's going to help a lot of the core systems, because I know they're kind of the ones that are the lowest common denominator. And there's been some performance issues over the last few updates, so I'm hoping that this more recent one helps the PTB version, so it's not going to be so rough for everybody, because obviously if we had a performance hit before the ships come in, then it's going to be even worse, right? So I don't know if I said this before, but the cargo ship is a dynamic event. It comes in the map and it does leave, so you have to chase it down. Here's another thought I had real quick, because I don't want to make this terribly long. Like, oil rig is dope, don't get me wrong. It's hot, it's good, but it's always in one position. But the cargo ship changes positions, so you can't camp it too hard. I'm not saying there won't be groups on there, but like, even when you get on board, you're not going to be in the same place when you're done. So you really have to kind of plan stuff, and it makes for a really cool dynamic event, a point of interest, and I think it's really going to help open up the game for solos and even for larger groups. So very excited for it. And speaking of water bases, which you are going to need, because that's our primary way of getting on board, might I suggest the Jib. It'll help open up the map for you for oil rig, for that all-important cargo ship. You can build this now. It is a support base. It'll help you transport things up to the fishing village to do trades, help unlock parts of the map where you would like to get some more nodes if you're all farmed out in your